I was asked to speak at a women's conference, and I had done that on Thursday, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So I have been able to do that, and that was amazing. And so I had done the dress, I had done the heels, done all the things. Then Friday came, and I had an unusual thing of my whole day was cleared. My schedule was cleared because I wanted to go actually attend women's conference and be an attendee, which I know I don't usually get to do. I still have never actually attended Education Week. It's been 21 years that I've been speaking there, and I still have not attended, and that is the goal. So anyway, I had the schedule free, and I was just, it had been crazy. It's been crazy since January. We've had retreats, and we've had speaker in a day events, and we've had all kinds of amazing things, our DTLC mastermind and Studio 5, and all of these beautiful, wonderful things that are happening, and all of the training that we're doing, all the certifying and all that. Plus, at 3 o'clock, I stop, and then it's phase 2, full on mom mode. So all of these things happening and circling, and I have been super tired. I will just let you know, it's not like every day I'm dragging, but I can feel like, oh, I need a break. I need a break. And your callings and all of that, it just, and serving and ministering, and you're taking things to people, and you're helping out with this activity and blah, blah, blah. So all the things. So I finally had this free Friday, and I woke up Friday morning, and I was like, it started kind of the night before, and I was like, I wonder if I'm being a little overzealous. I have this Friday clear, and I'm feeling it. I've felt it for months that I need to rest. And I thought maybe today is about resting. Maybe I'm just being overzealous, and I'm being kind of Mary Martha thing. And it's not required. Maybe I just can read these transcripts later, which I love doing. And maybe I just rest today. And it's kind of an unexpected gift for me to do that. But I wasn't sure. So I do this thing in the morning, as I've kind of mentioned. I do this thing where it's 5 a.m. I do the sacred hour, and kind of spend some time with the Lord, and just study and read and pray and think and ask. And so I asked, and I said, is this the right thing for me to do? And the thought came, check the schedule. So I had not even checked the women's conference schedule. So I checked the women's conference schedule, and speaking at 9 a.m. was Sherry Dew. Well, that was a done deal. I'm like, oh my gosh, for sure. I am going to go and listen to her. So I can rest in the millennium. And I had this reassurance in that moment that, yes, I will give you that rest. I will give you that time and that energy, and it will be all okay. And that's how I felt. I felt like, okay, I can do this. And so because it was, it was Friday and I was attending, then I decided I was going to do my jeans, my mom jeans, and my tennis shoes. So I would just be, absolutely full on, I'm attending mode. And so that's what I did. So I am going to this, and I'm using my pass because it's a presenter pass, and I'm getting into the parking spots, and it's going smooth like butter. So I get into my reserve section, section 14, which it's kind of like where you start going up in the Marriott Center, and you start getting into these seats that, like where the choir would usually sit and things like that. And I'm feeling like, belle of the ball, like I get to be in a reserve section. Woo! So I sat down, and I noticed on the floor is one of my dear friends. She actually is a dear friend. We had just gone to dinner together, and she's introducing a lot of the speakers. She introduced me the day before. And I was like, oh, cool. So I call her, and I'm like, hey, waving to you. I see you. It's good to see you. And she's like, do you want to come on the floor? And I went, can I do that? And then I look down, and I see that I'm wearing mom jeans and tennis shoes. And I'm thinking, is that even allowed? I don't want to be disrespectful to all the people that are sitting on the floor and being amazing leaders and all the things. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And I said, well, why don't you check? So she checks, she gets the A-OK, and I get to scoot down. So the cool thing that happens is that as I come down to the floor, I am having this like surreal experience of, oh my goodness, I am going to get to see Sherry Dew from like 3 rows away. So I sit down, and then I start noticing all of these leaders, all of these church leaders. There's Joy Jones that sits right in front of me, and I know her, so I give her a big hug. And then here comes Camille Lynn Johnson and Bonnie Cordon and Michelle Craig. And I know these women. I have read their talks. I've studied their talks. I share their talks. And as I'm seeing these women, I'm starting to realize that this is a gift, a priceless gift that Heavenly Father has orchestrated for me. Why? Not just so I can hobnob with some awesome, amazing general presidency leaders, but because for years I have wanted to let them know how much their words, their talks, their sacrifices mean, and how much I appreciate being able to take those words and share them with all the women that I get to share them with. It is amazing the time and energy that they put into these things and how much it moves and changes people. I get to take that and now turn around and teach it to other women. Really phenomenal. So I'm starting to see this. And then here comes more women and more women. And I'm giddy. So my friend turns to me and she's like, if you want to meet Sherry Do, you need to do it now. So I hop up there and I'm standing kind of a little bit back and I'm dying that I'm in these jeans. This one moment in my life, this one gift that he has orchestrated for me, and I'm in jeans and tennis shoes. So I stop apologizing because my friend's like, stop apologizing, just be yourself. So I stop apologizing, but I actually got to talk to Sherry Do. And the funny thing is, okay, you know me, embarrassing moment. I hug everyone. Like if you're moving and breathing, I'm hugging you because that's just the way I am. So I'm talking with her and I'm saying, thank you for being so amazing, for all the things that you do, trying not to be oozy gushing, but I'm sharing with her those things. And I start to give her a hug. And I'm like, moments where you're like, you're starting to do something and your mind's like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Because, maybe these leaders don't necessarily want to be hugged by complete strangers, right? So I go in for a hug and I give her a hug. And then I get done giving her a hug. She was very gracious. But I was like, I wish I would not have done that. I wish I would have thought that through. So I go sit down and I'm kind of having this moment of, I feel like an idiot. Why did I do that? I had this one moment to meet and say hello to Sherry Do that I want to do my whole life. And I'm just going in for this big old friendly country farm hug. And I'm thinking that was probably the wrong thing to do. Why did I do that? So I'm sitting there and guess what happens? Sister Bonnie Cordon gets up and starts speaking. And unbelievably, she starts talking about the importance of appropriate connected touch, particularly hugs, particularly an 8-second hug. Okay, so I felt completely validated in that moment that I did not do a wrong thing. I should have probably asked first, but this power of the hugs, I felt completely validated. What are the chances that Bonnie Cordon would get up and start talking about the necessity and the power of us having hugs after I was just second guessing doing that very thing? I just thought it was another beautiful, tender gift from God. Okay, but the gift kept giving. So after the talk is done, I see these female leaders, the sister leaders, and I'm like, well, here's my opportunity to just tell them, you're amazing. Thank you so much for all of your sacrifice and time and all the work on these things that you do. It actually is helping. And boom, I get to give that's when I got to give Joy Jones a hug. And then I saw Reina Aberto and I run over and give Reina Aberto a hug. And we had just gone to lunch. So I was like, oh, I can give her a hug. And then here comes Annette Dennis with a bunch of ladies, and it probably is her family. I see her walking as I'm going to the tunnel in the tunnel bathroom, which feels cooler to say I'm going to the bathroom in the tunnel. So I walk over there and she's walking in. I'm like, Annette, Sister Dennis. And I just grab her hand really quick. I mean, didn't grab her, but I just touched it lightly. And I just said, hey, I just want to let you know, we thank you so much for your service, blah, blah, blah. And then these women next to her go, oh, Connie Sokol, we were just talking about you. And I'm like, oh, that can't be good. And she said, yeah, yesterday. And they just started talking about it. So I was like, okay, this is totally fine. I can totally connect with these women. Okay. And then Michelle Craig was able to give her a hug appropriately and be able to tell her how wonderful it was. Bonnie Cordon, it was like we were new best friends. She is so like that. She is just a walking hug. She was warm with everybody. And I'm just standing kind of at the back, kind of waiting. Turns out one of my friends is in this little circle that's right next to her talking to her. And I know her from NSA. And I'm like, what? And Andrea looks at me. She's like, Connie. I'm like, Andrea. So they're connected to Bonnie Cordon in some other way. So then Bonnie turns to me and starts involving me in the conversation. And then before you know it, we're hugging each other. I don't even know who went first. And she's giving me a kiss on the cheek. She's just like that. So anyway, in the space of like a cumulative maybe 15 minutes, I had 8 general presidency leaders that I was able to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I get to take what you share and share it with women, and it's changing lives. And it was so incredible. And then this feeling thought came to me. I almost missed it. I could have stayed home justifiably in my bed under my covers and just napped and slept and rested and would have enjoyed every second of it and needed it. But here was this gift that Heavenly Father had for me that I did not even know. And because I asked this morning, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I asked, that I actually had that wherewithal, that pattern in place of doing the sacred hour in the morning and actually asking him what would be the best thing to do. Because usually I'm just like, okay, then I can efficiently do this and I can efficiently do that. I am so everlastingly grateful because you guys, this was the gift of a lifetime, once in a lifetime. How many times am I going to have that many general presidency leaders all in the same space within a short period of time and be able to thank them for what they've done? It was incredible. And I almost missed it. So the thought and the takeaway for me from that was ask, 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 ask daily. Is there anything that I need to know or anything I need to do that I'm not aware of that you have in the lineup that I need to be attending or be aware of or be ministering to or whatever? Is there anything I should know about today? Or is there anything I need to be doing that would be helpful that I'm not aware of? And this is like my new thing now, because it's not FOMO. Like I'm not walking around afraid that I'm going to miss something, but it's more of invitement and being able to say, is there something that that you have a gift for me that I'm not aware I'm going to receive? And I would love to have and experience that gift. And so if I'm kind of clueless, would love to know about that. So little thought there for you to keep in mind, if that's something that resonates with you. All right. So that was the first thing. The second gift from Women's Conference, the second takeaway that was not from a class, was me being able to see our Disciple Thought Leadership women who were speaking at Women's Conference, to see the pictures of the ones that I couldn't get to because they were speaking at the same time as me, or being able to hear about their experiences, or actually even being there. I was able to go to one of them, her and her husband were speaking. And it was the greatest joy to see her up there doing her thing, being able to stand and deliver through the Spirit, doing it together, and being able to use those principles that she has learned about being able to use effective speaking skills and do it by the Spirit, to do it for him, to be able to convey it in a way that can be engaging and received well by the audience. It was just so fun and delightful. I can't even tell you, it was this, I don't know what else to liken it to except proud mom moment. And maybe it's like when you go to girls camp, and you just see the girls, that talk that they talked about, my Saturday girls, when they come in Tuesday and then Saturday. Now these women come in and they're like Friday girls. They're already like amazing who they are. And it's just wonderful to see that they have just tweaked and up-leveled or had confidence, this clearer confidence in what they've been able to do. It was so beautiful, so beautiful. So that was the second takeaway, is whatever we're doing, when we do it to help other people, there is this deep, lasting joy that comes from being able to see people rise to the potential and measure of their stature, that fill the measure of their creation, was the thought that would go through my head. Just this joy that comes from seeing them fulfill that. It was fantastic. And then the last takeaway, the third takeaway, was the power of gathering as covenant women. Now, I know this, and I've expressed this from our Disciple Thought Leadership group or our retreats, that there is a difference from just going to a conference, just going to a fun thing, and then doing that with focused, Christ-centered, covenant-keeping women. When you do that, it elevates it on such a scale that there are amazing miracles, tender mercies, all the things, breakthroughs that happen with that. And again, that joy and that quick connection, you can go deep so fast, be able to connect with each other and on such a clear level together and have this learning. It's just magic, absolute magic. And so I saw that power, and it was in a couple of different ways. One of them was when I went in to watch one of it was Ingrid and her husband Norm that were speaking together. When we went to watch that, there was this whole almost row of these like disciple thought leader women. And there were women who had been through the program, and they were alumni, women who had come and just come to a retreat in various stages of DTL. And we were all on this row, and there was such a connection. It was this amazing. We took a picture of everyone being there, and just 16 women that were all together. It was just, because I don't think we got Ingrid in the picture because she was busy talking with people, but it was amazing. And to feel the strength, this covenant power, this covenant strength that came from all of us being there for that purpose, for that reason, and for him, it was fantastic. The other joy of gathering and the power of gathering was so unexpected for me when I went in to go speak. Okay, my time was 12 to 1 on Thursday. Now, quite frankly, honestly, it's the lunch hour. People have been listening to speakers all morning. I'm like, I don't know, maybe we'll have maybe 20, 30 women. And I'm in the conference center, and I'm in this big sort of like double wide room. And it's like, room for 400, I don't know, a lot of people. Anyway, and I was like, well, maybe we'll have 20, 30, 40 people and it'll be wonderful because it'll be very intimate and we can like really get up close and personal. So the room was packed. It was totally packed. The women just kept coming. And the first thing I noticed is as the women kept coming, this thick feeling of the spirit just started entering into the room. Like you could feel the shift by degrees in the room. Just, oh, it was so yummy. And then the second thing that was so unexpected was all these women that I had known from different things, from maybe a talk that I had given years ago, or from a program that I'd done, or from a book that they had read, or something like that. And they had contacted me or whatever. It had been all of these different things and experiences. And we were seeing each other, or they were seeing me and coming up and giving me a hug. And it was like every 1 to 2 minutes, there was somebody else that was coming up and giving a hug. I think hugs were the theme here, this connection theme, but you just can't have women and not have hugs. I don't know what it is. It's like an Olaf principle, whatever. But it was this amazing thing and this joy, this rejoicing of seeing each other. It was very much like Sons of Mosiah, and they were so happy that they were all strong in the faith and they had been able to do good and all of the things that it says in that section where they all meet up again and they're so surprised. That's what it felt like. It was this joy and this happiness. Didn't overpower us to, falling on the ground or whatever, but it was this amazing experience. And I absolutely loved it. It was so unexpected, yet another unexpected gift from a loving Father in heaven who had all of that waiting, and I had no idea. And that was right before I spoke on Thursday. So you can imagine I'm stepping to the podium and I am just filled with this joy, this covenant power that I feel like I've just been embraced with, and this infusion of peace and joy and love. And I literally stood at that podium and I felt so much joy and calm. And the only time I felt a little like tremulous tremor was at the very beginning, where I felt almost like when you have your adrenaline going so much that you have that shake. I wasn't nervous. I just felt this shake of so much good. It was crazy amazing. So those were my 3 takeaways from BYU Women's Conference. And the biggest one, of course, was I could have missed all of that. I could have missed it and not been aware of it, not been open to it. I could have, sometimes before I speak, I'll go out into the bathroom or out into the hall in the back entrance, where the speakers come through often, and I'll just go and be quiet and have a prayer and just do that. But there are times when I come out and see the audience and I want to see them and feel and behold them and all of that and whatever it's conducive to. So I happened to be in the main room at the time, and I just think I could have missed all of that. It was just an amazing 2 days. So the ultimate takeaway that I'd love to leave you with is that, 1, the Lord has gifts for you, unexpected and yet planned, and they are wonderful. So I invite you to ask about those with him every day. And 2, that there is so much joy and connection, and yes, involve hugs, and maybe ask if you kind of get a sense that maybe somebody is like, whoa, are you going in for a hug? That maybe ask, especially right before someone speaks for, the general session for BYU Women's Conference, and they're literally going on stage in 6 minutes, probably a good idea to ask. Yeah, that was a good learning takeaway for me. But then the third thing is the joy of gathering as covenant women. If you have an opportunity to gather as covenant women, I invite you to take it. Do whatever you can to be there in reason. Of course, we want to make sure we're there for the birth of our baby, obviously have to be, but just saying, you're not going to be wheeled in on a gurney so you can watch Women's Conference. I'm saying, be wise. But if there is an opportunity for you to meet and gather as covenant women, invite you to take it. Strongly invite you to take it, because you never know what tender mercy and unexpected miracle gift the Lord has in mind for you. All right. I love you. Enjoy.